God damn. What? That's a whole lot of zeros after the dollar. Damn. How to steal 7 is that a zillion? What number is that? It's not a wait, hold on. Is that a trillion? Hold on, let me just find out one little thing from Copilot, bro. Can't even hear me.
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Yo,
let me know what you.
Yeah, nah. I just want to ask, what are a number that has 12 zeros after it? Like, what number is that? Is that a million, trillion, gazillion? What is it?
A number with exactly 12 zeros after it is called a trillion. In other words, that's the number 1 followed by 12 zeros.
Nice. Look. So somebody who is a criminal that can like steal trillions of dollars. What kind of crime is that? Is that blue or white collar?
So what you're describing sounds like a massive scale financial crime, and that would definitely be considered white collar crime. Essentially,
white collar crime. I even had to clarify that for the one time. I'm telling y'all, this is crazy. How the heck? Unless you're here trying to plot on the very same type of white collar crime, white collar criminality. I think today's one is gonna be nice, deep, interesting. Yeah, let's see it.
Goodbyes, I'd rather you tell them. But now the truth is I've digressed from all the feelings, so it's forever though. Like my mama's son missing, ain't no telling, do they love or did they kill him? The dominoes have fallen, we can't go back to beginning. This existential crisis, the reason I cannot keep competing and keep on living.
Alright, y'all, back with it for a part 2. I don't know, probably might have to title this one, I mean, we still reacting to how to steal $7 trillion. You know what I'm saying? Big boy, white criminal type, crime type, you know what I'm saying? That's tough. Yeah, I might just label this one. Let's see. I'm gonna try something new, by the way. I wanna try title these segments right here on this live, so that post-production me, when I do chop these up, I know exactly what title to put on them, and then I don't have to think the whole time. I might just label this the qualities required in qualities required in performing the highest levels of white collar criminality. Oh wait, qualities required in performing a high level white crime. Qualities required in performing high level white crime. My fault.
A long way from working in a coal mine.
What do you mean?
When Apple went public, over 40 of its early employees became millionaires in a single day. After a relatively minor slowdown after the tech boom fell back in the early 2000s, it just kept growing.
Yep.
If the 1980s were the decade of computer hardware and the 90s were the decade of the internet, the 2000s would become the decade of social media. After the early success of MySpace and Friendster, websites like YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook arrived in rapid succession and quickly boomed into yet another brave new world of tech. And this early wave of social media platforms ushered in an unprecedented new format for social connectivity and community building. Keeping in contact with friends or family across any type of distance was suddenly simple and easy in a way that was previously unimaginable. Even our social lives were moving online. The internet was going from a weird little corner of dark nerdiness to a real public utility, changing the world in real time. And this period was defined by founders like Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey of Twitter, Reid Hoffman of LinkedIn, and the team behind YouTube, all creating massive fortunes out of thin air as their platforms took off. It was hit after hit after hit. Tech was progress, progress was good, and if it made a couple extra billionaires along the way, why the hell not? And then the iPhone came out, and it put all of this in your pocket.
Wait, the booming of tech is the 4th industrial revolution, right? That's the 4th. Wait, let me just confirm something. Y'all know I need to confirm these things right away, bro. Copilot.
It looks like you on the Copilot start page
where
you can type in a query.
Look, the rise of tech, the booming of tech, is that considered the 4th industrial revolution?
The 4th industrial revolution, or Industry 4.0, refers to the rapid advancement and integration of digital technologies like artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, IoT, robotics, and big data into manufacturing and other industries. It essentially
no. I feel like these social media tech giants, right? They were the contributors of the fourth industrial revolution. What's known as that, right? I feel like
right at your fingertips.
Whereas people like Apple and these are people that were producers of the hardware that's gonna contain the software that would be considered the fourth industrial revolution. You know what I'm saying?
All the time, forever. If there was ever a moment where technology felt like it had become indistinguishable from magic, this was it. People would wait for days outside Apple stores just to get a chance to buy these things.
This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today,
so they went from computer to phone on this day.
Today, Apple is going to reinvent the
phone. Okay.
But it would only be less than a year after the first iPhone was released and revolutionized the entire world with technology again that it all came crashing down.
No, what happened?
The Great Recession would become the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression, and a lot of the American way of life got torn to shreds in the process. Between 2007 and 2010, over 10 million Americans lost their homes to foreclosure, and the median wealth of American households went
the 08 housing
down by 44% overall. College students that had graduated into the recession suffered wage penalties or unemployment that lasted for years or more. Many people couldn't afford to buy homes or start families, setting back major life milestones. The Great Recession was bleak enough that in the end, over 15,000 excess suicides were counted during the recession versus previous averages. The financial collapse was so bad that it killed people. And this wasn't just the mood of the era.
Bro, come on, bro. Come on, bro. If anybody still disputes the fact that money is God, okay, I'm only using that expression just like loosely, just ignorant. But come on, bro. Like, people off they self, they waste their own selves over things like their life savings going to nothing, going to no value. Hey, there's this do your homework. This Steinhoff scandal, right? I think it's what is it, Steinberg? I cannot remember. Hold on, let me find some shit out for you through Copilot, right? Yo, Copilot.
This page is the Copilot start screen.
Cool. So the Steinhoff scandal, the Steinhoff saga. What company went into negative, like negative, like in the red, to a point where all of its investors lost all of their money's worth? What's the name of that company?
This was the Steinhoff scandal. Steinhoff International was a major global retailer.
Steinhoff International, a major global international retailer, blah blah blah, right? Once people found out that they had lost their life savings invested in Steinhoff, that international retailer, like, weren't there a bunch of people that KILLED'd themselves?
It was a really intense time for a lot of people who lost their savings, and there were definitely some severe emotional consequences. It's a very serious situation, so yeah, there was a lot of distress around that.
Yeah, so a whole lot of people could die, and that just like explains the whole control of money, bro. Like, money has such a grip on people that, I'm telling you, you tell somebody who has millions worth of, millions worth invested, right, in anything, and then tell them that all of those millions go to nothing, and look at the fact that they spent the duration of their entire lives making these millions. Some of these people, it's not just fast money, especially when we're talking about shit that's invested over long term. You know what I'm saying? You can take your whole entire life raising funds, raising money. You know what I'm saying? That's how much that shit is needed right now. That shit is like beyond a necessity in this current world, bro. That shit is God. Money is God. I don't want to say it out loud. Actually. I just realized I'm not too confident saying that out loud. But you know what I'm saying? People literally, like, they take their own lives because of that stuff, bro. That shit is too sensitive.
It was a fact that by 2010, the annual income share of the top 1% of Americans reached 24% again, the same amount it had been in 1928, just before the Great Depression began. But while the middle class immediately and clearly suffered, big tech companies didn't really see any noticeable slowdown at all. Apple's stock, and that of every other tech company essentially, recovered from the downturn after just about a year before pushing on to new all-time highs. For the stock market, especially for technology, there were no real lasting consequences. And meanwhile, the traditional path, the safety they had come to expect, the opportunity provided by college, the stability provided by high-paying jobs and housing, it was no longer as reliable as it was before. And I think as this fabric that held our world together started fraying, as these guarantees that made life good started falling apart, instead of truly deeply questioning why it was happening.
And another thing, we have to take seriously the fact that these are human beings, bro. You know what I'm saying? The promises that they make would not last long. It won't last forever. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna last for as long as the productivity, you know, their productivity and the level of productivity that they can keep maintaining, right? For as long as that's kept maintained, you know what I'm saying, then they'll deliver on their promises of making life better, making life convenient with these devices, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? The promise of just like, you know, the presence of these things making, you know, changing your lives and shit like that. Right? These people are humans that make these kind of promises. You know, it's also for PR, bro. So that Apple can look the best. You know what I'm saying? But everything comes crumbling, crashing down eventually, brother.
Happening, people started grabbing onto anything we could to avoid feeling powerless.
Oh, shit.
I think this is truly the world that I was born into, and the world that I know as an adult. The landscape of hustlers, entrepreneurs, people desperately trying to make it big by any means possible.
Giggers.
In a world where you could do everything right, go to college, work hard, try to find stability, and still lose, it starts to make sense why people are chasing millions and billions. In a world where you sometimes have to work a second job or break your back to pay the bills, it makes...
So it's like you kind of like have to overcompensate for your survival, right? You overcompensate, you have to get it the biggest. You know what I'm saying? So that you're secure.
It's a lot more sense to tell yourself that you're an ambitious go-getter building an empire than to just face the fact that the world is
is that I think we miss an opportunity
to
find these kids who have the entrepreneurial traits and to groom them or show them that being an entrepreneur is actually a cool thing.
In the early 2010s, The Wolf of Wall Street is another movie by Martin Scorsese that was meant to show the danger of greed, but ended up being widely interpreted as a blueprint by disaffected people. American Psycho acts out this very vicious, disturbing, yet ironic narrative that satirizes the emptiness of consumerism and greed, but it went on to grow a cult following of young guys who interpreted it in the complete opposite way. And like I mentioned earlier, a lot of billionaires themselves have become media franchises. This is no longer the world where Daniel Ludwig, the richest man in America, scoffs at the idea of a newspaper interview. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, they have become cultural heroes with millions of followers. Millions of people aspirationally following their advice, their mindset, their lifestyle habits, trying to become a little more like their favorite billionaire.
For real.
I think entrepreneurs and so...
I feel like we are in a world where like billionaires, because remember in the previous segment, right? We were chopping up the fact that we were at a point in the world where the middle class was the new, goal for your ambitions. Be part of the middle class. That's where most of these ambitions, they're good. They're there. You know what I'm saying? They can make life a convenience until we've reached this bubble where now everybody's trying to get that, but then, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to work for the amount of people that are going for that, right? The whole middle class thing, right? That's why it's disadvantageous to, you know, remain as part of the middle class, bro. They're milking the majority of your resources from you, your energy, that is, even, you know what I'm saying? Let me put it that way. It's your energy, essentially. They're milking, you know, y'all are the ones that are milked for the most part, right? The middle class. But then that's why you have a whole lot of people now, right? What's the new ambition? To be the billionaire. Fuck. To be the billionaire, to overcompensate for the fact that, you know what I'm saying, you're enslaved so hard. You have to work so hard for little to nothing. You know what I'm saying? So to secure my future, I have to go big or go home, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So, but then you gotta realize the side effects of that. The people that you have to snatch some of that resource from at the moment, just because you want a whole exponential amount of it. You know what I'm saying? And this is the mind actually of the young modern man, bro. Everybody trying to be a billionaire, bro. And like, think about that. Not everybody can be a billionaire. It's only reserved for the 1%. Boom. It's only reserved for the 1%, bro. Well, as far as it stands right now. Till they print more of this paper, and then, you know what I'm saying? But then paper for what assets? Because we talking about wealth. We talking about billions. We're not talking about like millions liquid. We talking about billions. Some shit where it's like an accumulative review of your portfolio has to have some assets in there. Now, if there's more money but then less assets, there's an imbalance there too. So a whole bunch of people being billionaires, maybe even more than just 1% of the entire world, you know, within this current world, it's kind of, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of unreal right now.
Social media influencers building their brands and making millions by selling this grind set as the secret to success, selling courses on how to get rich, making this blurred line where happiness is directly linked to how much money you can make. I think all of that is a direct result of these economic changes, because in parallel, the middle class has only shrunk further and further. Between 2008 and 2015, job growth was mainly found in high-skilled tech jobs like software engineering, finance, data analysis. Basically, if you wanted to make a decent amount of money, you had to go work for a big tech company. That's where the money has been. Finance, banking, technology. Otherwise, these low-wage jobs were abundant as well, but middle-class jobs have become harder and harder to find in the aftermath of the recession, and they don't pay very well anymore.
Exactly.
Wages from 2008 to 2015 were basically flat. They didn't change at all. Meanwhile, healthcare, college tuition, housing, all of that climbed rapidly. At the same time, the stock market just kept flying up at light speed. And of course, this led to people glorifying and worshiping entrepreneurship and grinding. Nowadays, being normal is for losers. I mean, in a way, it literally is. Being normal is an indication that you have lost, because it's no longer a good life to be a normal, average person.
Being a normie.
And so I think we have this deep-rooted worship.
Being part of the middle class, that's the NPC. You know they even have buzzwords for these things, right? They have buzzwords for these things. You're an NPC, dog. You're like a cog in the wheel. Like, you're just, you know what I'm saying? You're a statistic. It ain't no other way.
Of entrepreneurs now. I remember having these thoughts as a child. At the end of 2016, I wrote a paper for school called SpaceX's Interplanetary Transport System. And I wrote in this paper, billionaire business magnate Elon Musk, with a net worth of $10 billion with his ownership of Tesla Motors, announced his company's formal plan to colonize Mars within the next few decades using a proposed SpaceX endeavor he dubbed the Interplanetary Transport System, bringing around 100 people per ship to Mars with journeys as short as 60 days, blah, 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 blah. I was a high school kid writing a paper about Elon Musk, looking up to this billionaire founder who was promising to bring about a new frontier for humanity with rockets and cars and flamethrowers. 15 years ago, Elon Musk got a cameo as himself in a literal superhero movie. That's how much people loved him and saw him as this bringer of the future and an innovator in the world.
Mr. Musk, how are you?
Congratulations on the promotion.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, they might yellow mark this part of the video, so this might be gone.
Those Merlin engines are fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, good idea for an electric jet.
But anyway, besides the fact that Elon Musk's colony on Mars never ended up actually happening, what I thought was interesting is I noticed today, just 10 years later, he's worth about 50 times more than he was when I wrote that essay. His net worth is now listed as being about...
bro, 500 billion, bro. Oh my god, boy. Are we on our way to finding our first, or, you know, reaching a point where our first trillionaire is walking amongst the people? That's crazy.
$500 billion.
No.
And that's pretty much true for almost every tech billionaire. In 2015, Jeff Bezos is worth about $35 billion. Today, he's past 250. Mark Zuckerberg is the exact same. Larry Ellison, Bill Gates, really all of them. But we don't see them as having done 10 times more than they did 10 years ago. Because at the same time as these founders have increased their wealth by 1,000% in 10 years, they're also no longer seen as emblematic of progress. We don't consider them visionaries of the future anymore. Instead, they've come to be seen as emblematic of greed, exploitation, abuse, alienation. They've become the people who broke the same systems that they had first promised to build. In 2018, the mask finally slipped when it was suddenly revealed that a little-known data firm in England had quietly harvested the personal information of tens of millions of Facebook users and turned it into a psychological weapon.
Whoa. Alright, let's get it then.
Games people used to play on Facebook 10 years ago, quizzes about what kind of bread you are, Farmville. In reality, people's data was being logged and psychological profiles were being created. They figured...
Oh yeah, and I feel like, this is a perfect, you know, time to point out the fact that, this is the initiation of the ingredients that are needed in order to clone, you know what I'm saying, you, me too. Oh no, but on the real, I actually kind of fuck with it. Like, I like the idea because, you know what I'm saying, I have come to get attached to the idea of antinatalism. Wait, let me explain. Right, not giving birth to sentient life, right? No, I'm not saying I've adopted it officially as my own, but like I see it, I feel it though. Right? No more reproduction of human life. But check it out though. We can reproduce the software. They can use this information to reproduce us as software. That's the official definition of soft living. A soft life. Being a software. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, replicate, because, like, think about it, bro. Once you have a kid, that kid is gonna have their own mind. They might not have the mind that you were hoping that they have. Maybe yours, right? If you're a good human, civilized human being, right? You would hope that they have adopt your kind of mindset. They might not, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so, if you can clone my shit and put it in a mini me, you know, I don't know what body that's gonna take. Maybe not holographic. Maybe something more dense in material, in its material than that, right? But let's get it, bro, because you're gonna replicate my exact mind, and that's what I like. No, I'm tripping. Now let's go on with the video, man. Let's go on with the video. My fault.
Figured out who you were, what you liked, what you hated, and most of all, how to make you click. They figured out how to appeal to the paranoid boomers, the anxious college kids, the disenfranchised, and the frantic at the same time. And they took this data and they sold it to people who wanted to win elections. Donald Trump's 2016 election, the Brexit referendum, huge events like that were partially made possible because of this new type of ad targeting and data scraping. And this confirmed beyond any doubt what had previously been a conspiracy, that social media platforms weren't just tools or fun websites, but they were actually surveillance machines that could record our every move, thought, and statement and sell that data to anyone looking to manipulate the public.
Beautiful.
And I think this was the moment where that dream of connecting the world, bringing the future to life, all that started to crack as tech billionaires suddenly looked less like quirky geniuses trying to innovate the future and more like robber barons of the information age, quietly running surveillance machines in the background, no matter what the greater cost might be to society, even if it turned out to be society itself. shelf. It was also around this time that Amazon became notorious for sweatshop-like conditions in the massive warehouses they were rapidly building around America.
But before we get to the Amazon joint, my boy, you know what I'm saying? Wait, what are you doing? Quick word from the sponsors. It will be quick. I promise.
Ain't no telling, do they love or did they kill him? The dominoes have fallen, we can't go back to beginning. This existential crisis, the reason I cannot keep competing and keep on living.